Thanks, Rich. I'm here with Ryan Grooms, head football equipment manager, and Adam Myers, assistant football equipment manager. We're here at the Guglielmino, and they're going to walk us through what it takes to get ready for, or the team to get the helmets ready for the game. So, Ryan, do you want to walk us a little bit through the timeline? And I know back in the day when I was a student manager, it took hours and hours and hours. Can you walk us through that process?
Sure. We switched up the process in 2011. October 22nd, 2011 was the first game that we switched to our hydrographic gold. And basically what the process is done now, we send it out at the beginning of the season to Oregon. They dip the process with a gold chrome, and then from there the texture, which contains the 24-karat gold dust from the dome, so that process stayed intact. It was one of the traditions that obviously we wanted to keep going as we made the switch for the helmet, is then applied to the helmet in the clear coat of the process. So now each week Adam goes through the helmets, spends a lot of time, a lot of hours on these helmets, and the managers may help prep them, but really the majority of the work falls on Adam's shoulders, and it's one of those things that we feel like we got to just make perfect. So it's something that we put on Adam and let him do some work, and he gets back in his back room there and goes to town, and he's going to demonstrate that process for you here in a second.
That's great. And before we do that, can you define number of hours? 5, 6, 10? What does it take on Sunday?
He could answer better, but on Sunday, that's a very busy day for us during the season. So that's when we're getting the helmets back after a home game, especially on Sunday, all the cleaning of them. And he'll probably spend 4 or 5 hours on Sunday, and then a couple hours each day, depending on the truck departure date. If we're going to California, the truck's leaving on Monday. So we're spending a lot of time on Sunday and Monday morning before the truck would leave. If the truck's leaving on a Wednesday, Monday and Tuesday, a lot of that prep work gets done. So, all in all, we're looking at about 15 to 20 hours, I would say, throughout a week just to get the helmets that Adam spends on the helmets.
Great. So, Adam, can you walk us through the beautification process here?
Sure can. First of all, we're going to use Fantastic, and we're going to get rid of any of the face mask scuff marks from the previous game. So those are all these marks right here that you see. They come right off. But there's also gouge marks from when these guys hit. And we're going to use these strips right here, these gold, to cut out and replace so you will not see them from afar.
So basically what we do, as he's finished up this process, they make sheets for us, and this is our repair process. Instead of the helmets getting repainted each week, Adam's able to literally take scissors and cuts out marks on the scratches and the gouges that are created, and he cuts this out to fit that gouge, and it really just inlays into that mark, covers it up, and then we look like brand new gold helmets each week.
So a little bit of science behind that then.
Yeah, we started off the first year as we made the transition with a nail polish bottle to do some touch-up paint, and it didn't quite look right. So it was a little bit of a learning curve for us and get through the process to make sure that we got something. Obviously, our goal is to make the best product out there and to get that on the helmets for the field.
Great.
And you see he's cutting this out right now, and I'll let him cover this up.
So I'm cutting these up into smaller pieces just to cover these up. And it's just almost like a sticker that goes on there.
Wow, that's unbelievable. You literally can't tell.
If you get really up close, you can, but on TV and from afar, it blends in really well. So this is a pretty long scuff mark, so I didn't want to go one huge one, so we just went a couple smaller ones.
Not finish that, and then they can show. You can see where he started and where it finished of how much that covered up. So this was a gouge mark. You can see the white at the top of the helmet, and that extended all the way down about 4 more inches that he's covered up, and you can see the difference of where he's covering that up to make that cover into one again, if you will.
So this was just one of the skill players too. So it's usually the O line or D line are pretty bad each week.
Okay.
So there's a lot more work for those helmets.
Spend a little more hours on these.
Yeah. So this is a defensive back helmet, so there wasn't too many scuff marks on this one.
The lineman that he was talking about, offensive defensive lineman, obviously that's a lot of more head-to-head collision during the game. Defensive backs, receivers, maybe not so much of helmet-to-helmet contact. So those will last a little bit longer. We'll replace the shells usually at about week 4 or 5 for those guys, the starting offensive line, defensive line that have really got beat up. Again, so we'll take the guts out of the helmet, rebuild a new helmet. So when I say the guts, I'm talking the liners, the air systems, the jaw pads, put that into a new shell so that he's starting with a brand new helmet, but at the same time, it's a brand new look with the same feel of his old helmet. And then we'll let him practice in it, get comfortable with it again, because technically it is the same helmet, just rebuilt into a new shell. We actually sent out, I think, about 35 to 40 helmets, did a full-blown reconditioning last year over bye week, so that we sent them out on Monday after the game before the bye. So we had 2 weeks to turn them around, ship them to Rydell. They have to go through a full process of reconditioning, get broken down, shipped to Oregon, full-blown hydrographic process, back to Rydell, get them rebuilt, and then they're back in time for our next game, so that we have another supply of helmets. And we got a lot of the guys redone, because at halfway through the point of the season, we want to make sure they're still looking fresh.
Wow, there's a lot that goes into these.
Yeah.
Anything else you think we should know, Adam?
Also go through, you want to tighten in any of the screws, hardware, replace anything that looks damaged, just so it's not coming off during the game or anything. And if the face mask is beat up, which this one isn't, we'll replace that for each game. Other than that, it's a pretty easy process.
Good to go. Well, great. Well, thank you guys so much. We really appreciate your time today.